By the way, in life, it is important to master how to run your own race and keep to your own lane. Attempting to compare your life to other people's or to copy other people's life situations and paste in your own is like running other people's races and in lanes other than your own. You're in school and you're working so hard to study like this classmate of yours who seems to perform better than you. Now your classmate's mode of study is waiting until the last minute for them to read the whole night prior to an exam. So you try it, but to your disappointment, you even doze off as you write your exam. You deteriorate an already deteriorated performance. You're also working so hard to copy your friend's dress code. Your friend appears classy in the way they dress, and so you also try to keep up with that pace, only to be disappointed later when you realize that your friend comes from an affluent background and you have nothing close to that background. Back in the day, I tried to be like my friend who appeared classy and swaggy in the way he dressed. He used to sag his trousers, and I thought it was something worth emulating, and I also tried to sag mine. I did so for quite a while, only to be disappointed the day I realized that I only had one trouser, and my friend had a background that mine was nothing close to. So my trouser had grown tight over time because I did not have money to buy another one. My parents didn't have money to buy me another trouser. So it became so tight that it could not allow me to exercise my sagging desires. That is the disappointment of running other people's races and in lanes other than your own. You get to college and begin to admire your peers who are studying courses that look to you as superior than your own, and you start struggling to do interfaculty transfers so that then you can feel like you belong, you can feel like your life is making meaning. You begin to realize that your brain cannot easily comprehend the lessons the other end. By the time you begin working your transfer back to this other faculty, you have lost a lot of time, or you will give up along the way because class does not seem to be making sense anymore. At the workplace, you are working so hard to be like your supervisor. You want to live in a house similar to your supervisor's, sometimes in a neighborhood similar to his or hers, only to be disappointed later when you realize that you have started struggling financially, and then you realize that your supervisor has been working for 15 plus years. You just joined the organization. Your supervisor earns multiples of your income, and he or she has other investments that you do not have. Later on, you discover that all your friends have gotten married, so you also hastily get married, and shortly you have a baby or two, and you also have hired a domestic manager just like your peers. You're feeling great that you now belong, and that does not stay long with you before you discover that all your friends are now living in bigger houses. You quickly justify your need to move into a bigger house. After all, you also have a family that has grown. You no longer are living with just your wife, and before long you have switched houses and moved to a bigger house in a neighborhood that sounds better to you. That does not stay long with you before you discover that everyone in that new neighborhood is driving, because public service vehicles do not seem to drop people near where you live. The following morning, you are in your bank applying for a car loan. Shortly, you are cruising in your car because your children have also piled the pressure on you. They are telling you that you are the only ones who do not have a car. And so you conform and comply to that pressure, and you take a car loan and get your car moving. That comparison does not last long. Before long, you also discover that all these friends of yours that you're trying to compare and compete with are actually living in their own homes. They are not renting like you. But now, unfortunately for you, your payslip has been squeezed to the end. You do not have any more borrowing capacity. You want to compete with them, but you can no longer qualify for a home. You can't get a mortgage loan because you borrowed for the car, you borrowed for the many other things, you borrowed for the school fees for your children, and that is the end of the chase. Look, comparing your life to that of others is only courting disappointment after disappointment. It is actually frustrating God's intentions upon you because He created you unique so that you could run your own race and stick to your own lane. A life driven by comparison leads to one frustration after the other. It drains you financially. It pushes you closer to the trap of debt, if not deep in that trap. Run your own race. Stick to your own lane. Be you and do you. You can do better. And this is By the Way.